Spaghetti.
The FlameCast!
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand spanking new episode of the FlameCast with my friend Windybeard. I am TOBOR, and we will be your guides, your hosts through
How you
this.
doing, TOBOR? How's it going?
This is probably going to be more of a I don't know, a simmer cast for me because I think I got sick or something, or I'm getting sick. I'm in the process of getting sick, but otherwise I've been pretty good. How have you been doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Busy.
Yeah.
But good, generally.
You've been still grinding away on GO2, yeah?
Yeah, GO2. So that's what I've been working on, as always, and probably will be for the next God knows how long. But it's mostly been, this week, it's just been UI stuff. So I'm doing lots and lots of work on UI.
God.
The game's very, very UI heavy.
Yeah, that's true. With from what I played at GO1, but like I said, I got kind of addicted to it for like a weekend. So
no, it's I actually enjoy UI stuff. I like
I'm the opposite.
Popping up and, a lot of people are. I always thought people loved it, but it turns out most people hate doing UI stuff and all this stuff. But it's interesting working on GO2's UI, because when I made GO1, I didn't put a hell of a lot, I suppose, of thought into the UX, like how it plays and what it's like for the end user. So it was more a case of put all the buttons in, make it look nice, and then have stuff pop up that the player wants to see. Right? That was basically it back then. But because I'm making a sequel, and just because I'm better at what I do, I hope. I'm spending a lot more time thinking about how I can limit that down, how I can have less UI but provide more information, how I can make things quicker, how less clicks of the mouse or.
Sure.
So I'm trying to do a lot more sort of tooltips and context menus and things like that.
Yeah, I was just going to say something a little more contextual, I guess.
Yeah. So instead of having
relevant things that are happening.
Exactly, yeah. And I've started sort of planning. So there's one thing that I was missing in GO1 that would be quite important, because there's so much going on behind the scenes, so many things unlocking and upgrading and leveling up. There was no real way of notifying that. The player was never notified of this unless they went and checked. So I'll be having pop-ups coming up the side of the screen, this leveled up, that's now available, loads and loads of stuff like that.
I am already satisfied.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of those things, and then you can click on those and it'll take you directly to it and things like that. So it'll be a lot more easier to play. From a design perspective, that's been fun. Plus,
that sounds good.
I'm hand designing them all. So the UIs aren't.
Oh, they look good too. I gotta say, they look. I swear to God, your art gets better and cleaner and sharper, like with every game.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I try. I am trying. And this is the second sort of phase of GO2. The first one I ditched, and it was a lot less visually high quality, should we say. So I've put a lot more effort into things like the second version. But I suppose the first one was more of like a prototype. Yeah, but it's like all the UIs are all like metal, chunky with rivets and like pipes and wires and stuff.
Glowing cables.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Because you've got the theme, there's this one theme of green, like a fluorescent green that runs through the whole of Geo. It did in GO1, but it wasn't as potent. But that's sort of what I'm going for. So everything sort of lights up. Yeah, so hopefully the player will go, oh, green, that's Geo. So if I can take the color green and make it mine, then we're winning. I don't even like green that much, but it's a powerful color, and I think it works well for what it is.
It especially looks good against like black and
chrome,
that's it,
chrome
kind of stuff, metal stuff, dark metal. Yeah.
And usually find like with not with just UIs, but sci-fi in general, it's always blue lights. It's always blue, like neon blue and metal and
anymore, which has kind of been irritating me actually lately. Like, really, we're gonna go blue again, everybody.
Yeah, so we're going for green.
Good.
we're doing exactly the same thing, but we're doing green. So
an underrepresented sci-fi color.
Yeah. So yeah, there's been that. I've been doing that. I've also been working on database tools. So how I can input all the data. So that's I actually enjoy doing that as well. But
you know what's funny is I like doing database stuff too. Like I like doing inventories and stats and the UI stuff that I don't like to do. I like the visual design of UI, like when I'm doing a mock-up in Photoshop and I'm like placing all my stuff and playing around with where things should go and like how your eyes should follow the screen and all that stuff and what's relevant and like what are you doing on that page. I like that stuff. I don't like counting pixels and then programming it in.
Oh yeah.
When it's like, that one is like 1 pixel off to the left, and that's all fucked up right there. So I gotta 1, 2, and then find the line of code that I'm on, and like, okay, I gotta, and then just naming all of the numbers and stuff, like coming up with temporary variable names to like, so I don't have just a bunch of magic floating numbers everywhere.
Yep.
Like, okay, what do I call this? Text X placement sub stat. X placement.
UI main text name stat
sub menu sub positional that stuff kind of makes me go a little loopy after a while. But that's the part.
But it's UI is one of those things though that can really push the game. Like the gameplay is fine until you've got all the information being presented to you. It's sort of nowhere near finished. Like that stuff really starts to turn the game into something. You know, when it's providing back the information of what you can do and what you have done. Yeah, you know it's a really important part of the game, and I always like seeing it. I'm a big fan of like percentage stats and things like that. Love it. Like a basic number that goes up.
Yeah, no, I love RPG stuff. Like that's kind of stuff I've fiddled with since I was a kid playing like tabletop RPGs and stuff. And it can be the thing that I see a lot of smaller budget games do is they tend to really skimp on the UI and it feels like crap.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't know how to interact with it. And that can drive me nuts. Like, especially if you don't have like even a reasonable options menu or something, or even just a layout that shows you what the controls do.
Oh yeah,
You don't even necessarily have to give the player the ability to remap them, but if you just show me, like there have been a couple games that we played recently that didn't have that, and I was like, yes, what am I missing? Or am I using everything that's available to me in the game? Like I have no idea because there's no manual, there's no nothing. So
no, I agree with that.
Just kind of drag my face across the keyboard and see what happens.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, so many games I've done that. You just start hammering every button until something happens. You know, that's never a good thing.
Yeah, I think you can improve your game leaps and bounds by just including like basic stuff like that, and then just kind of gussying it up a little bit so that it feels good to push buttons.
Well, with GO2, same as GO1, the entire game is played with a mouse, 2 buttons. So that's the plan, the whole game. So it's that simple. There will be no keyboard. I don't intend to have any keyboard at all. So just 2 buttons, bang, go, full game. Yeah. And I think it's an interesting, because restriction makes things, especially with control and UI, the more restriction you have, the more you have to think about what it is you're doing,
Yeah.
And I think that's always good, because you can't have 36 buttons all over your keyboard.
Savage started out that way as a 2-button game.
Oh, yeah?
I was like, I'm going to do NES-style controls. And then now it's like, well, I can't even let the user use a Super Nintendo gamepad because
if you hold Shift, W, and F,
I am using almost all of these. It's like bar 1.
Well, they're there. They're there. You know what I mean? So use them.
Yeah, but that also means that it forced me to refine certain elements of gameplay. I think there's some stuff that's not as tight as I'd like it, of course, and can be fiddled with probably endlessly.
But I think that's an interesting discussion in of itself, is controller support for video games.
I always prefer it because I don't hate, like I obviously I work at a mouse and keyboard all day, so it's nice when the option is there to obviously if the game doesn't allow for it, or if it's like Diablo or something. Well, I mean Diablo's been ported to stuff with gamepads, but
and it's glorious. It's amazingly well done.
I imagine.
Fascinating.
The only time I ever
fascinating.
did that was with Diablo 1 on PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
The
I bet
PS1.
that wasn't good. I bet that wasn't good. That's it.
I appreciated it.
Yeah, of course.
Because it was like the novelty of a gamepad. I was like, oh, rad. Like now my thumbs are, everything else can relax. It's just my thumbs.
Yeah. Well, there was a Baldur's Gate game that did it as well, like a hack and slashy one. That was quite good.
Alliance, something
job.
Alliance.
That was it. That's something like that. Yeah, they did a good job. But like I was blown away by how good Diablo 3's controller support is. Like the entire game has been redesigned for it. It's, I suppose, necessary.
Yeah, that's key. Because I would imagine if you just played Diablo 3, but with gamepad support kind of whacked in there, the game would get a lot easier. Probably.
I've got Titan Quest as well. So on my Switch, I got Titan Quest and I got Diablo 3. Diablo 3 has obviously thrown the full weight of Blizzard's financials at this controller support, and you can tell. With Titan Quest, I love Titan Quest on PC, and it is awful on Switch.
That's
with a control pad.
That's a
it just
bummer.
Doesn't work. It doesn't play well. Nothing really. You can't. Oh, it's just. But this is the discussion about controller support. Is just. I don't think people realize how difficult it is to put it into a game. I think it's a real big undertaking,
especially with something like GO2, where it's meant to be, where you've got like tons of stuff to click on.
So many
on
buttons
screen.
and menus.
Yeah.
So if you was to try and do the optimal controller support, which is if you press left, it moves to the next button. Which is what I think people would expect. So
yeah, highlighting things on the
tabbing through all the buttons and all the different menus, but the menus go like 3 deep. And in each menu, there's grids, and in each grid, there's like 3 things to click on, and and then tooltips and all this stuff, and it's really tricky. So
Conan Exiles is like that, where I prefer to play that with a gamepad, but once you start, do you know anything about Conan Exiles?
Is that the big open world online thing?
Yeah, it's like a survival build. Like
is that the
crafting.
one with the dick size thing?
There you go. That's the one. The Schlong Sim.
Yeah. I know about that one.
Yeah,
That's about all I've seen.
Yeah, full dick physics in that game.
Oh god.
Yeah. Need gamepad support for the penises. But what I prefer to play like third-person action games with a gamepad. But when you get into the minutia of Conan Exiles, it feels terrible with a gamepad.
Yeah.
Because you're crafting things, you're constantly moving things around your inventory to another box or another, state workstation or something. And it's like you got to thumb through all of the, that's where it's like, okay, mouse and keyboard probably is better for this. But that one's divided like right down the middle for me, because the UI stuff is garbage with gamepad, and then the actual running around and killing things I prefer to use with a gamepad.
But that makes sense, though. It does make sense, because like platforming or action or running around, driving, with a control pad, it's fine. It's great. It's better, probably better than a mouse and keyboard. Yeah,
your thumbs are a little nicer, I think, and fat
and it's
and
just
quicker.
more relaxing, I think, to sit back with a controller and feet up. But I think at the same time, a controller, even with like Diablo 3's, God knows how much it cost and time it took to remake that. Most people can't do that. So when you've got menu systems that have any level of complexity, then that's when it becomes a nightmare. It becomes an absolute nightmare. And then on top of that, you've got how many controllers there are, and all these other horrible, intricacies of controller support.
That's what PC is so. It's like for PC, it's like I tried to use my patented Dilbert toilet USB joke controller while watching Netflix and like doing all this wacky shit, and it's like, how come it doesn't support this? It's like
scamming devs,
2 ultra-wide monitors and 1 4x3 monitor for.
Well, I think it's a fair comment, and I've made it several times to much criticism, but if I do controller support for a PC game, I do controller support for an Xbox controller or a Microsoft controller. Mm-hmm. It's a Microsoft platform. It's a PC. It's a Windows machine, and it's a Windows controller. And I think that's fair, because then you start going down the rabbit hole of all the different drivers and the way the buttons are mapped on the controller are different, and you just end up going down this huge pit of trying to support every controller. And I think, especially for smaller companies, if you support the Microsoft official controllers, then you're doing your job to implement controller support. You know, I think it's probably not the best thing in the world. If you could support all the other controllers, fantastic.
Yeah,
but you know, you wouldn't be able to just plug your PlayStation controller into an Xbox and expect it to run the games perfectly right. You know, you would be like, well,
or an ancient Gravis,
Mad Cats,
whatever,
or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, and it's harsh because as a developer, you obviously want to give players what they want, and you want to give them a really great controller system and the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, they come into the game with some obscure, you know, wooden controller that they picked up on holiday.
Yeah.
And get upset with you that it doesn't support it properly, you know? And you just think, well, I can't, what do you want from me? And I'm trying my best here.
Yeah. Why won't my Magnavox Odyssey 2 controller, you know, work on Scud
But you
Frenzy?
see it across Steam. You see it across Steam. You see comments like, oh, Dev couldn't be bothered to do proper controller support, so I've done X, or you can use Y because developer can't do it. And you think they probably can. They just, you know, you don't really understand the depth of that work, you know, what it entails. It's a big undertaking, especially for a PC game.
It can be very obnoxious to muddle your way through, and then even then you might not even get it perfect, and it might not be a good experience if you can't if you half-ass it. It's like maybe I shouldn't put it in there because I don't know. Well, and then usually those conversations devolve into like, "Lol, noob, why are you using a gamepad on PC anyway, idiot?" And then they go on a different. They're off in the weeds. Then
I think you can try and do the right thing, and you'll probably end up doing the wrong thing for a lot of people anyway. You know what I mean? You just do the best you can. I don't think anyone's not trying to give people a good game or a good way of controlling it. Everyone's trying their best, you know.
Yeah, nobody is. I mean, there's probably very rare and bizarre exceptions, but nobody is making a game just to upset you. Oh man, I hope they hate this one.
Yeah. Well, if you follow games on YouTube, you'd think that the opposite. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. With some of the reactions to some of these, but I mean, you can make a game like where it's an obvious cash grab or something, or but you still want people to buy it, and you still want a level of well, I think there's some games that are made by people who are just like really out there, and you can tell.
Some people out there are crazy. They make some weird stuff.
Yeah, like that Black Tiger game is what I was thinking of, the Life of Black Tiger.
The PlayStation 4 thing.
And games like that, yeah. Where it's like, what's going on here? I don't know what's happening.
I don't know if I wonder if some of these people are delusional as well. Like,
I mean, I kind of think that's what I mean. Is they're like Tommy Wiseau or something.
Yeah,
of video games.
See some of these things. God damn it. And there's probably people watching this thinking, "Oh, shut up, Windy. You're the same." But I don't think I am. I think there's some.
Who am I to talk to? I'm not even done with mine.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. There's certain games that get put out that you wouldn't put out. You know what I mean? Like, not in the state they're in. You think, Jesus, I'm putting that out.
Yeah. Even if it did only take 3 months or something, and a couple asset purchases.
Yeah, a couple of assets and 20 minutes in Unity. Yeah. But controller support. I'm thinking of adding it to GO2, but it will be just a mouse simulation. You know.
And that's fine. You know what? I'd be happy with that as a fan of GO1 and being a little bummed that I couldn't, give my thumbs a workout. GO2, if you just put in like basic move the mouse cursor around with your analog stick and click on stuff, like I think that'd be fine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have anything against that, and I would appreciate that, and I think a few other people would too.
Yeah, and if I ever do go to port that game, then that would make it substantially easier because you'd need controller support anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, and you can make the mouse interaction nice too. So that when if you are just using a gamepad to simulate mouse movement, it would work in the port job because maybe you highlight things and maybe there's like the little cursor like. This is what I do in Savage with the mouse and keyboard stuff. Is I change the cursor to something that looks old school and barbarian and whatever. And when I click on stuff, I do a little animation on the cursor where it's like a little glimmer or whatever. And
Yep.
just to kind of juice it and make it feel nicer. And but there's a lot of small games that just kind of suffer as far as UI goes, and I think and doing that when you take your lowest. My friend Tim talks about this, especially when it relates to design, and he's been making games for since like Fallout 2. But he always tells me, if you take your lowest sort of value piece and raise that up instead of really going after the stuff that's already damn near perfect, you wind up
that's a good point.
boosting your average overall like way more than you would.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
In my case, where it'd be like, just add a new axe or something. How about instead you go through and you make the dialogue system just a little snappier or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a very, very, very good point. I like that. Makes a lot of sense. But I think also on the grounds of UI, you can overdo it. I think over-designed UIs are also a problem.
What comes borderline to that is, have you ever played Dragon's Dogma?
No, but I've always wanted to.
That is a great game, and that is also one of my favorite user interface experiences.
Okay.
They went all out on that thing. Like, and you.
Oh, really?
If you just watch a video, you'll see what I mean. But it's like there's so many sounds, and like every time you like move the cursor, it's like shwa shi ho, and you click on something, it's like chakonka chiki. It's so good. I don't know how.
Oh, really?
And I think, but if they did it just a little bit, like went a little further with it, I think it would be like overstimulating.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There's a fine line, isn't there? There's a fine line.
It may cross it too for you. I don't know, but
I don't know.
I was very surprised. I was like, God damn, this feels good to just navigate menus.
You got to love a good menu. I think there's something in games, especially if you're an old school sort of RPG player, and then like MMOs and stuff like that. The UIs become so important because it's all about what you've got and your numbers and
they used to be awful garbage.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Basically, like a command prompt or something.
I'm not a big fan of, when, this is just a personal preference. When you've got like just a list of items with no images, like in old school RPGs, it's just text on a background.
Yeah.
But
Leather
if it
helm.
doesn't bring up a picture. Like, if nothing has a picture, it always annoyed me with Final Fantasy VII. Like, I love Final Fantasy VII. But there's not even an image of any of the items. They don't exist,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But it makes a lot of sense.
JRPGs in general, like, really lagged behind that sort of stuff. Like, it always irritated me in, like, Final Fantasy VI, for example, where you'd equip, a leather helmet and ring mail or something, but your dude just looks like he's wearing his blue jeans. And
it's the most criminal thing in video games. That is the worst thing in video games. It's the most depressing thing when you go, oh, great, I've just got dragon flaming sword, and you pop it on, your character's still holding a dagger, and you think, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's not good enough. Don't do that to me.
Little character sprite hasn't changed whatsoever. That's a little bit of what I've sort of held on to going into Savage is like it's like my revenge on games like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna give him everything. Like everything that you pick up, you're gonna see on his stupid, and I'm gonna animate it. And
thing is, though, it's
and now I'm
worth
crying because it's a lot of work. But
it's worth it, mate. It's worth it. I know I can imagine it's a pain in the arse job, right, to animate and draw all of these items, but it will be remembered for it. It's a major thing.
Yeah, I hope so.
It is a major thing. If you've got a part of your game where you can equip stuff onto your character and you can't see it, and it makes no difference to your character, then it's nowhere near as good. It's like 2% of what it needs to be.
Yeah. Well, it can be a buzzkill like immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
you just go, oh.
You guys didn't do that? Oh man.
Yeah.
Maybe I should turn this off.
Yeah.
And it could be a great game too, but
yeah.
Little things like that.
No, it really is. So I take my hat off to you for doing that because it's awesome.
Well, I think that kind of feeds into the UI talk a little bit because when you have something that kind of disappoints a little bit, that can go deep on somebody's.
Oh yeah,
it's like meh. And then they carry that with them throughout the rest of the,
Yeah, especially if it's with a UI that you use a lot. If that becomes the problem, then it can make the entire game unpleasant.
Yeah. If you have a good, solid UI, it almost makes everything else feel more stable, too. Like the way what you were saying is like everything kind of comes together and it starts to feel like a game.
Yeah.
When you start to put the UI stuff in, it's like if you got a good one, it can make everything else, even if your game's not that great, it can make it feel solid and stable and like it's almost like a support system for you. It's like the game's got me. I am in its hands.
Well, there's a lot of games that are almost entirely UI. You know, that's what the game is. You know, things like Football Manager and all these other things. They're almost entirely about how the data is provided and how you manipulate it and navigate around the different systems. And that's pretty much the game, you know.
Yeah.
And especially even things like a lot of like old strategy games and things like that, they were mostly UI and how it provides information on your strengths and different things.
Stuff like Civilization and...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they live and die by their UI because the game is UI. You know, the actual gameplay is just a visualization of what the UI is telling you. You know, in a lot of regards.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's UI, isn't it? So, what have you been doing with Savage? What have you been up to? Go on.
I finished my title screen, my brand new flashy, ridiculous title screen. Speaking of UI, I guess. I mean, it's kind of UI. It's a little bit of a cinematic too, though, like an intro.
It's glorious
animation thing. Thanks. I'm kind of proud of it. I'm excited about it now.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, and yesterday I just went through putting in brand new, fresh like lightning and thunder sounds and.
I want to see it and hear it. I want to see it and hear it.
He's got a nice classic kind of anime shing noise when the sword appears, like that twing.
Oh, so good, so good. It's just the crack of lightning, and then there's a tower in the distance, and then barbarian. That is fucking yes! I want to Savage. Oh mate, it's so good.
I want to punch you right in the face with that thing. It's like
yeah, exactly.
This is what it is.
Oh yeah, right in the face. Yeah. Right in the face.
Get
glorious,
ready.
Glorious. And you've done a real good job with the text. Really nice. Where the shimmer goes across it.
Oh, thanks.
That is really good.
I love stuff like that. I love I love animated text and chrome looking shiny things.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted the game to look like too like I kind of miss games that look like they would eat you alive, you know. Like like Sinistar or something. Like you go up to that the name, like you fucking go up to that thing, it's like, "Oh my god, this thing's going to hurt me, isn't it?"
The title screen's just like a big demon with like fire and like axes and
somebody's fighting a dragon on the side of the cabinet, or like there's a babe at the top or something.
Yeah,
it's
so
stupid
good.
and
so good. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, just something that you wouldn't stand a chance against in real life or something. And I'm trying to communicate that a little bit with the the intro. It's like, hey, remember when even pinball machines looked scary? That's what. There's like a guy on a motorcycle where the wheels are like razors or something.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like, it's so edgy. I could cut myself on this thing.
Too upsetting. No, that's glorious, man.
I'm gonna upset everybody. Everything has to be so soft and colorful these days.
It sells more, doesn't it? That's the thing.
It does. You can't argue with that. You certainly can't argue with that.
No. And I suppose most of the games industry is, especially at the top end, it's just big business, isn't it? So it's just lowest common denominator most of the time.
Yeah.
What can appeal to the masses? So it's never one nor the other. It's always just that soft spot in the middle, which is it's not too edgy, it's not too soft. It's just like Nintendo games, I suppose, but they're more towards the softer side of.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Well, and what's funny too is like some of the biggest sellers are, straight up as realistic as you can get war simulators. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
like Call of Duty or something. But then again, you look at Fortnite and it's like, I don't even think that has blood.
No. And then you look at again like Minecraft. Look at Minecraft. I think the target audience, if you're really going for that big number, then it's you want to aim for that. What is it, like 8 to 13, 14-year-olds?
Yeah,
like
you want
that
kids
market there
to play your game.
That's the big hitter, especially But that's only if it takes, because otherwise, if you go for that market and don't hit the mark, then you might as well throw it in the bin. You know, because
if you're trying,
they're either
then
all in, or
you wind up with like Rise Star or something, or any number of failed like the glut of action platformer like animal mascot kind of stuff. Plonk or something.
It's all so much. It's always interesting. It's always interesting. So what's that? You've been doing Savage just title screen all week. Is that what you've been on?
Pretty much. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. It's done now. So I can get back to some of the main things I still need to do are just about all of my environment art is done. I'm sure I'll run into stuff where I want some specific things, like
another rock or something.
Yeah, God damn it. Thankfully, I think most of the rocks are done at this point. But like if there's like a room or something that needs like, I don't know, like a skull with blood coming out of its mouth or something. It's like awesome. That would go good in here. It would look nice. It'd really tie the room together. Nice. Stuff like that is so that's gonna just be like as I finish up the remaining levels, kind of spot cleaning. Like and enemies too. Like there's a fish man that has been sitting on my in my project folder for like a month that I haven't finished because I got distracted with some other stuff. But yeah, the game is severely lacking in aquatic style enemies, so I need some
you need to be inclusive.
I do. It's all about diversity.
Exactly, you need to get it all in there. You got to get the fish people in. So
turns out the fish people were gay all along.
Toasty. Do you have, just out of interest, like I was just as you was talking about that stuff, I was thinking, do you have an asset in your game that is a skull with a burning candle on its head?
I do. Yes.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Of course you do. Yeah. Yes. Nice. Oh God, I love
I've got
this
a
game.
couple ones of those with different colors of candle.
Yeah, nice. You know it's good if there's a skull with a candle on its head. You know it's good.
Yeah, and I want a couple different colors of flame too. I want blue flame and green flame, and
very nice.
Purple flame for necromancers or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Here's the thing too: is I want to do that I haven't done that I've wanted to do for probably 2 years now, which is a ridiculous thing to think about. Is I want to have destructible flames like Castlevania.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can just that will. I have an issue balancing some of the areas around ammunition for some of the throwing weapons. The daggers specifically, because the daggers you use to
climb.
Yeah, to get around. And there's some instances where like there might not be enemies in there for you to kill to get more loot off of. So what I can do is I can put like torches and whatever else in there. I already have them in the game. They're just non-interactive. But I can load them up with like throwing knives and stuff. And
oh, nice. Yeah, do it.
And I think because it's such an easy thing to do, like I just haven't done it yet. I've had bigger fish to fry.
Well, he's been sat in your drawing box for a while, hasn't he, the fish man?
He has, for like a month.
Fry him up. Nice.
Yeah. Nice. But you've kind of had a little bit of a revelation, or being reinfused with some good old fashioned inspiration, huh?
I have. It's been a very long time. It's been a very long time since a game has sort of tickled my pink bits, if you will. Yeah. Right? And
up to now, it's all just been misery.
Yeah, just pure misery and darkness. Yeah. No. I like a lot of games. But it's rare that a game goes, okay, and really sort of starts getting your head firing, thinking, wow, this is interesting. Oh, I like this. This was unexpected, and it came at a very unexpected location of a game called Lapis X Labyrinth by Nice America or Nice, whatever they're called.
What's funny about this game is, just looking at it, I don't think it would have ever been a thing that I would have thought, Windy would like this.
No. Well,
when you sent me the thing, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because it's all... So just for context here, right? Yeah. It's all like super deformed, chibi style, like waifu kind of...
Not my thing.
It's like total glorious Nippon.
Yeah, it's hardcore mangas, right?
Animes really everywhere.
The animes and the mangas are all over this one, right? And I'm not a huge fan of this stuff. I'm not against it or anything. It just doesn't do anything. I just like, oh, it looks cool, whatever.
Yeah, like
So-
I'm not a fan of it specifically, but there's like certain art styles and stuff where it's the context in the world has to kind of appeal to me, and if it happens to be chibi or whatever, I'm like, it's cute and it's fun and it's but I don't go after that stuff specifically.
Yeah, exactly that. I don't have like a list of all the chibi games coming out and then I'm going to buy them all. Like I rarely, But this one. So Lapis X Labyrinth. Basically, what it is it's a platforming dungeon crawler at its core. That's it. It's loot grinder, and that's it. You go into the dungeon.
That sounds fucking awesome when you put it that way.
Yeah, you smash through a few floors, you kill a boss, you get out, you spend your money, you upgrade stuff. Right? It's pretty simple. And the hub is just like a couple of people stood outside a shop, and that's it. And then you go back into the dungeon. It just goes round and round and round, right? So it's pretty standard fare. However,
it's a big
they
however.
decided to turn the fucking notch up, right, all the way to 11 on just the chaos inside the dungeons.
They broke the knob and threw it away.
Did. So I can imagine how it went, right? So let me just say what the game's like. You kill enemies and they come in at you. You jump in. You can jump like 4 times and you can just smash the shit out of stuff. And there's coins flying around, right? And these coins cover the screen. They're all over the place. And then all of a sudden it goes frenzy mode or something like that, right? The background turns into fireworks. Yeah, exactly. The background turns into fireworks going off, and everything starts dropping like 10 times the amount of coins and gems and explosions, right? So you're just attacking like 26 enemies at once with this little dude with an axe with 3 people stacked on his head.
Yeah, all the characters are stacked, right?
Exactly. It's crazy. And then you're just smashing through walls and there's just coins everywhere and there's just items dropping and there's just lists of stuff going up that you're collecting and it's just chaos and then it ends. And you're invincible when this goes on as well, right? So I'm assuming...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're invincible. You cannot even be harmed, right? And it happens probably 50% of the time you're in this frenzy mode.
Oh my God. So you
not.
can just wade into the madness and not give a...
Yeah. But when you're not in the frenzy mode, you can usually lose a character in 2 hits. And considering there can be like 35, 40 enemies on you at once, it gets a bit tasty. So it's an interesting game. Like it's almost like they've made the game, right? And then they've gone, oh, it's pretty good, it's kind of standard. And then someone's gone, what happens if we just turn that right up? And then all these coins started flying and it was just chaos. And then, well, that's a good idea. What can make this even harder to understand? Let's put fireworks and some fanfare music on, right? And then it's just more.
I bet it started out as a joke, where it's like, hey, look what happens when I turn this slider up to 99, and they're laughing at their computer.
Yeah. They didn't set out. There's no way they set out to do exactly how ridiculously over the top it is. If they did, then they deserve a round of applause, right? But it meant a lot to me seeing this. Like a lot. And I don't think this game's going to set the world on fire. It's probably not even going to, it's not even going to be a massive thing. Hardly anyone's streaming it or anything. It's sort of gone out without a bang. But as a designer, I've always, I love, it's just so out there and ridiculous. It's just a video game. It hasn't, and nothing serious about it. They've just thought, this will be an interesting idea. Let's shove that in. Yeah. With sort of not reckless abandon, but they haven't gone, oh, but no one else is doing that, so we shouldn't do it. They've just gone, sod it, let's go bang. And to see a company with, someone like Nice America, who's probably got quite a lot riding on this game, to just go, sod it, let's make this weird, crazy, colourful, obscure game.
Yeah, they're like middle market, aren't they? They're kind of...
Yeah, they're sort of like...
a lot of Japanese companies are...
Yeah, well, you just sort of have like these Goliaths, these AAAs, and then you've got all the mid-tier, and they're definitely mid-tier. They bang out higher games, lower games, but it's nice to see this. And like I say, it got me thinking a lot about Scud. So I made a game called Scud Frenzy, for anyone who knows, which is not the same as this game, but it's in the same sort of vein.
I can see it in there. I can see the DNA.
Yeah. And I made Scud Frenzy off the back of a love of 2 games, right? So I took inspiration from Smash TV, which I love Smash TV.
It's a good one.
Right? Which was just chaos back in the day, and it was great. And a game called Bangao, which I don't know if many people know what this one is, but it's just an absolutely insane bullet hell game where it's just nuts. It's crazy.
And that one's a platformer too, right? Kind of.
It was, yeah, but you could fly about and there's like 1,000 bullets all at once. And
platformer with a jetpack sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted to take that sort of chaos and cram it into a game about pressure and speed and money and and I made Scud, but I think I held back a lot through concern, about certain things. I should have gone further than I did, and my intention is to do that. So I'm going to either do another Scud, or it's going to be similar, or it's going to something around there. I've got some ideas. Because there's a lot in that game I liked.
Yeah, I think you should. I think that's exciting. Yeah, especially, and I've never heard of Bangayo. Or every time I hear that or say that, I can't help but think of like a late '60s spaghetti western featuring Elvis or something. Bangayo, Bangayo, ding 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 ding. Bangayo. Oh, yeah. But looking at it too, like I see Scud in that, and I see what you were going for. I played Scud recently too.
Yeah,
and I love it because there's nothing else that I've played that's like it. But then I saw you play Lapis X Labyrinth, and I was like, oh. This is the kind of there's like including Scud Frenzy. There's like 3 or 4 games like this out there.
They're copying me, TOBOR.
They are.
No, but it's nice to see. Yeah.
Nice to see. Well, and Scud Frenzy too is like it's like a visual feast. There's so many things in there, and it's everything that you shoot in Scud gives you points, and it's a like you're running against the clock, right? Like you've got like 30 seconds to beat a level or whatever, to get a certain amount of cash. And everything is explodable. Everything's like certain things chain off different things, and like all the enemies are wacky and they blow up. And I didn't realize too that you put in upgrades until maybe a half hour in. I was like, oh shit, there's upgrades in this. And I love grinding for stuff anyway. But yeah, that game kicked my ass real bad. Scud Frenzy did.
Yeah.
I want to go back to it, and because I see you have leaderboards and stuff, and you have it's a high score chaser,
pretty much.
And I see that like some people are like double and triple, like in certain level. Like, how did they do this? But
it's a game of multipliers basically.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, and I think this is one of my mistakes with the game. I actually like the game. I think it's a great game, but I think there's a few things that I did with it that can be quite what's the word? Unforgiving, should we say? So
I feel like
for
there's
example,
a critical path that I'm missing in the stages where it's like if I go after these things, then I'm guaranteed to,
Well,
but I just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, that was one of the design ideas for the game. Is these maps are sort of like tracks, if you will, like a racing track. And the idea was that because they only last 30 seconds, 40 seconds. That you play them again and again to try and find the best route to get the high score, which means that people compete to find, so someone could go one way, someone could go the other way, and the difference in their score could be huge.
And you have like little time boosts too. You get like +5 seconds, +10 seconds, whatever.
So you have to learn where they are, learn where the machine guns and the shotguns and things like that are, and that was the idea. But I think it's quite jarring for someone who no idea what it is, thinks it's a platformer, turns it on. And I think that was the hard bit.
Yeah,
and
to them it probably looks like an adventure game or something.
And that's kind of a mistake. And I tried to limit that by wrapping it all up in this game show sort of futuristic, Running Man-esque game show thing.
I love the voiceovers for that guy too.
Do you like that?
Yeah. Well, and all the enemy death noises and stuff.
Oh. I did all of those.
Yeah, I know. I heard you. It's like I know who makes that noise.
Yeah, there's loads of them. But the aesthetic of the game, the setting, the characters, that I liked, and that I'm going to reuse.
It's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's got a real like dystopian future. It feels like Fifth Element and 40K, like just
thank you,
mashed together.
Yeah. So I got plans. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm balls deep in GO2, so I can't go too far into this new one. But it's there and it's percolating. Brainbox.
Yeah. Well, you can hit the ground running then after GO2, I think.
Yeah, and the engine's already there, so I've already built Scud. So I've got I'm not ashamed to say I'm going to reuse a lot of it. I've never done that before, so I intend to do it with this one and see what I can do. So hopefully I can make something with it. And I'm just going to take it much further, much, much, much further than I did. without any shame or concern. I'm just gonna go nuts.
Yeah, dude. I think it's a little bit of a mistake to not go with your gut in that regard. Like I think you can go with your gut and really screw yourself in other ways, but
yeah, well,
but in the fun zone, it's like go for it. Yeah.
I think that's what I'm going to do with it. So for anyone who has played Scud or is interested, watch this space, because this is going to be an absolutely insane. It's going to be the most insane thing I've made 10 times over, and I think I'm looking forward to it.
Good. I'm excited about that.
So that's Lapis X Labyrinth. If anyone has a Switch, I think it's on PS4 as well. Mm-hmm. I highly recommend it. Even if you look at it and think, oh, it's all mangas and chibi stuff, and you don't like that, right? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that stuff, right? I turned the character voices down because they were getting on my nerves, because they were just screaming and shouting again. Yeah, I had to turn it off.
You turned me into a maid or something.
Yeah, TOBOR is one of my characters. So you can have up to 4 characters go into the dungeon and they stack on each other's head, right?
Yeah.
TOBOR is one of my characters.
Because whatever.
Why not?
Yeah. Reasons.
So weird.
Because mangas.
But yeah, I strongly recommend it. And it's only like £20, I think it is, or whatever it is in dollars. Freedom bucks. What's that? 28 or 20? Yeah. So what about yourself? What have you been playing?
It was maybe a weekend ago. What set this all off was one of the last things we played was Herald of the Depths, right?
Oh yes.
So
Good game.
For whatever reason, I got curious and I was like, can I play Rogue on Windows? Like Rogue from 1983.
The old.
Rogue, yeah. The original. What everyone is trying to be like with the roguelikes and their, So I booted that up. It was real easy. I just, got it working in DOSBox and it was no sweat. But I got sucked into that thing. And that is almost as basic and by today's standards, ugly, as you can get.
Is this ASCII art?
It is, yeah, yes. The one that I played, though, you weren't the @ symbol.
Okay.
It was still using ASCII. What do they call it? Like console art.
Yeah.
Like it's not. They're not rastered graphics or anything. I guess it's like it's not. There's sprites or anything. It's a like icon based console art. So like and it had some color and stuff too. Like the walls are like brown and the hallways are just like gray, like text color. And your dude is like a little yellow happy face symbol. But the enemies are all letters. So like a bat is a B and the kestrel is a K and all that stuff. But I got sucked into it. It's such a, and I think that's the strength of that design there. And I don't even know where to go with this right now, but I played it for like 5 hours or something before I realized what I was doing. It's
glorious.
One
glorious
more run.
Games,
one more run. No sound, no nothing. And just all of the little simulation aspects of it, where you get hungry, you can put on a set of cursed armor, and not be able to take it off and wind up in a really horrible situation, and even your demise is interesting. And this is nothing new to anybody with like the glut of like roguelikes that we have right now, or roguelites too. It's like things that don't even resemble this thing.
Still, it's such an important game, though. It is an important game in history.
When you play it, when you just play the normal vanilla flavored, tiny rogue, like it's like, oh my god, the imagination just goes like with the things that you could do with some of what it's doing, even not even a lot, but like just little aspects of it, like and then people already have like a million times over, Spelunky,
a lot of times,
Risk of Rain and
Necrodancer.
Yep, yeah,
that takes from that. Lots of games do, but I think even things like, even if you go back to things like the first Zelda and stuff, I think even they take from these concepts. It's such a for its day.
Yeah,
for its
lighting
time,
things on fire, exploding holes in walls and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they absolutely smashed it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Genius design. And in considering this is before they could have graphics and all these things, managed to make something that potent that people are still remaking to this day.
Yeah.
Still not,
Well, I went on a
Amazing.
rabbit hole with this stuff too. Like I started, reading about the design choices and philosophy and like how a group of guys in Berlin got together and decided what an actual roguelike should entail, like all this stuff, and like there's a divide in the community of how like over like what is a roguelike, what's not a roguelike, and what's
yep. I've read all that. Yeah, that's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then I played NetHack a little bit because I wanted to, and NetHack's even crazier. Like as solid and multifaceted and interesting as Rogue is, like NetHack just if you could put if you could take the bones of NetHack and like, or Rogue too even, and just put some 3D graphics in there and whatever else, like it'd be a crazy simulation thing. Like it wouldn't even be it'd be something like Daggerfall or something, but 10 times over.
I love those sort of games. I think
and I've played them. Like I played them as a kid, but like I didn't realize how much I liked them until now, I think.
The first one I ever played was a game called Dragon Crystal on the Game Gear. That was the first Rogue sort of game I ever played.
Whoa, I've never heard of that in my life.
What's that, Dragon Crystal?
Yeah, on Game Gear of all things.
On the Game Gear, yeah. That was the very first sort of Rogue game-ish I ever played.
Oh, I already like this.
And it took me hard. Yeah, like I loved that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this? I wonder if this is for Master System as well.
Probably. Yeah, I'd imagine so. But I had it on the Game Gear, and I've played many of them throughout time, and I really enjoy them, and I understand fully where the roguelite sort of came from. That makes so much sense because it's not for the faint of heart like a Rogue game. It's not something that most people could just jump straight into. There's a lot, you have to be quite into your games and stuff, and
yeah.
Not only to look past it visually, but to enjoy what it offers at such depth,
Yeah, and to wind up with interesting scenarios and interesting deaths too. Like I can't believe that happened, and it doesn't upset me because it was kind of neat how everything came together.
Exactly. Yeah, when you've been playing for 3 hours and you look back and think, well, that guy ended up having his legs eaten by an ooze of some sort and carrying a lantern that caught fire. You think, well, that was the way that character lived and died.
I left
and that's
a trail of
it.
slime and it ignited.
I think that stuff's glorious.
Pissed off the shopkeeper, and then he came at me with a bow and arrow and whatever.
Yeah. Great game. Great games. And the actual genre itself is really good. Both light and original. Mm-hmm. I think they're both great.
It makes me want to try something like that. To be honest.
Yeah, I've always had interest. There was a good one because for anyone, I use ClickTeam Fusion to make my games, and there was a game called Grid Quest made by quite a power user of the software that was essentially that. It was a full-blown Rogue engine. And I remember looking at it. This was years ago, 10 years ago, maybe even longer. And I remember playing it, thinking, "Oh, if I could get hold of this engine and and just art over the top of it, and pour it on, what I could turn this into, But yeah, I'd like to make one. I just don't know if I could be bothered to make one. To be perfectly honest, there's a lot of data and stuff, and procedural algorithms and all that. But it'd be great.
Simulation stuff, too, where it's anything can get poisoned, anything can get lit on fire, anything can.
You got to deal with all that.
Anything can have a weird opinion about you and whatever else is going on.
The chicken looks at you with menace in its eyes.
But that actually means something mechanically somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. It means its hatred stat is 0.2 higher than an average one, which would look at you with indifference. What the hell does that even mean?
Yeah.
Oh man, love it. But that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like that's the start of the RPG, really. Going back to.
Well, it's guys that wanted to not have to be fucked with or have to mess around with like having a DM or something. Like, I want the game to be my DM, and I want the game to surprise me, so I'm going to make a thing that I don't know what's going to happen. And that's awesome.
That's a good way of putting it. That's exactly what it is, isn't it? Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Great game.
And that's incredibly appealing to me because, like, I used to mess around with, for example, Hero Quest,
All right.
the board game. I used to make rules for solo play in that, where like the rooms would like randomly generate and stuff. It took a lot of dice rolling, but I got it down to a point where you could actually complete quests and stuff, and like by yourself if you wanted, or co-op too. Like, since you could do it without somebody running the game for you, like you could play it with and I played it with my wife a couple times to try it out, and like we were both like kind of like, oh my god, there's an orc, kill the orc, kill it. You know, it's like you idiot, you spawned an orc, you know, kind of thing. This is your fault.
I've never been a big board game guy. Never. I think most of my time, especially in my childhood when I was younger, I played video games so much that I never even stepped outside it. Like, I'm talking, I had a full-blown disorder, right? I came out the other side, guys. I'm fine. Thanks for your concern, but it was there.
Here he is. Made
I never
fresh,
got into board games, but I played a lot of video games. I was obsessed. Every game that came out, I had to have. You know. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. So, Rogue and Lapis.
Yeah.
Great games.
Beautiful. I want to try out Lapis too. I want to pick it up eventually.
I think you should. Even if it's not your cup of tea, just for how mental it is. Like, I love a good rinse and repeat mechanic, grinding, rinse and repeat. I love it.
If that feels good and they do it right, like, I can do that forever.
Oh, yes. I even think that the stats of all the weapons and armors and the upgrades are not that important. Like, all you need to know is that things are getting stronger, and then you go in and fight more monsters, right? That's it. Like, it's the combat and the sort of visual feedback and all that stuff. Without that, I think the game would fall down quite heavily. Just be quite like a shitty dungeon crawler. But the way they've done it, they've just smashed it out of the park, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't think many people will play it because they'll look at it and go, on there. You know what I mean? And I think that's a shame, because I think not knowing what the hell's going on is what makes that game special in so many ways. Yeah.
Yeah, the zaniness is the part of the attraction there, I think. Well, it just the chunky coins. Feels so good. It looks like it feels good.
And it's the noise as well. That's the thing. As these coins are racking up, you just that's all you hear the whole time. You're just thinking, yes, I'm so good at this game. Yeah, you always said I'd be a loser, Mum, but I've made it. You know,
I'm making so much money.
Oh, it's better than real life. Yeah,
bathing in it.
It's good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you got a PS4 or a Switch?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, both of those things.
Oh, there you go. I'd grab it. Good game. Well worth playing. I don't know many people to talk to about it either. I feel like a weirdo. Because I try and tell people to buy it, and they look at it and go, weirdo. You know what I mean? And then I say to anyone,
like when you sent me the trailer for it, I was like, really?
Yeah.
This is a well, but I've played a lot of games that looked that way though. You know, like Secret of Mana and you and I have talked about MapleStory before, and and Ragnarok, things like that.
I love that.
So the art style is appealing to me, and like there's been shows that kind of look like Dragon Half or something, like anime and junk that.
The actual worlds themselves are really colourful. Like,
there's so many layers of parallax.
Dramatically colourful. Yeah. Like the last world that I just beat, I think it was called like the Astral something or other. And the background goes purple into orange into red into black. Like it's the background with stars, and then there's like trees, and then it's just like, and then there's fireworks going off. It's absolute chaos. It's glorious. So mental.
That sounds gorgeous.
You don't see it. Yeah, it is. So, as you may tell, I do like the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still playing it. I finished it, but now I'm going in like the extreme dungeons now.
And I've never seen I've never seen a game quite like it until you showed me Bangai-O. And
see, I've always had a thing for these sort of games.
And Scud.
Not so much.
Scud and Bangai-O and this one are the only ones I'm aware of that have this feel and look and personality to them.
I suppose it's like an offshoot of the traditional sort of bullet hell, really. The bullet hell games and stuff.
But, I guess.
I find those quite irritating sometimes. Like they're good, but they're quite irritating.
Yeah, like the Toho games.
Yeah, because you just got to move between bullets and stuff. They're good fun, but it's just
those can have a special appeal to them, though. It's almost like a dynamic like maze navigator.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
you get down to it, but
so I think it's like an offshoot of that. So, great game, and there's not enough of them. There's not enough games that sort of just go bananas. You know what I mean? I don't think there's enough stuff coming out that really just is so out there.
Yeah. There will be, though. You're going to make them.
Oh God!
And you're going to sell 1 million copies.
100 million.
Yeah, that's a thing that we had talked a little bit about. Is
what a segue.
Yeah,
what a segue. It's like such a professional.
Grease so it up smooth. And slide right in.
Like a porpoise. Yeah. So the plan is we would. Don't touch the blowhole.
TOBOR and Windybeard still going strong, not wearing thin. Trying to sell games by marketing, but looks like they're caving in.
Oh!
So we've got what's it? We were going to discuss. I think it's an interesting topic because we're both game developers, and so are all of you out there. Obviously,
we're all game developers. Each and every one of
developers.
Us. Bless us all.
Yeah. Well, it's come up a few times in discussions privately between me and TOBOR about what it would actually be like to sell millions of copies. And I personally don't think it would be a good thing, right? I think in some ways, but I think it's vastly outweighed by the negatives of selling. We're not talking about just selling a game and doing well. We're talking, when a game goes bananas and just hits the sky.
Notch level, probably.
Yeah, like Minecraft level success.
And then selling it for billions.
Exactly. It must be like, I try and run it through in my head what it would be like, right? And it must go something like this, right? You make a game, it's getting some hype and stuff, and you know it's coming. So you get that pressure starts building that this game has to be right, And that's when other parties probably get involved at that point. You start getting people who notice the hype and notice that this is worth getting involved with. So you start getting these other voices try and get involved. And then I imagine you start getting a lot of hands sort of grabbing towards it to see what they, to get a slice of the action and stuff. They know it's going to go. And then once it goes out, you then have to deal with whatever comes from that, especially if you're like one bloke or woman. And there's one or two, and then you've got to deal with this fallout of, because if you release a game and you sell, 10,000 copies or 5,000 copies or whatever, and you get some complaints about bugs, you can deal with them. But when you're getting 50,000 complaints, angry complaints because about, this isn't working, which you will get, you've got to then deal with that. And I can imagine it's an absolute nightmare. You wouldn't,
it's
I don't
impossible.
think you could do it
It's
alone.
not navigable, I don't think, at that point.
No, to which point you then forced to expand. You need people involved.
Yeah.
And then you start turning from a designer into like a CEO sort of thing,
a manager
of an actual
mostly.
company. Yeah, which then turns into, you then start getting phone calls from all these places wanting to talk to you and you know what I mean? I can imagine.
You're not making anything anymore. And whatever you do wind up making is not going to be a failure. Comparatively.
There's nothing, comparatively, like Notch, for example. You take Notch and Minecraft, nothing he can ever do again in video games will be applauded. It will just be compared to Minecraft and considered a failure.
Yeah.
And that is awful. That is awful.
Yeah. At that point, it's almost like I would adopt a pseudonym or something.
Yeah, start again.
Yeah.
I bet he has. Yeah. But it must be hard.
Maybe he made Herald of the Depths.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't find anything out about that guy or girl or whoever made it.
No, we couldn't find links.
No,
nothing.
Yeah. The only evidence of their existence is the game on Steam.
It's not.
I searched for Herald of the Depths, on Google and stuff, and like the third or fourth one down was the video that we just uploaded.
Yeah,
like the FlameCast episode with talking about Herald of the Depths. It's like, okay, this person is who knows?
They're trying to stay under the radar.
Yeah, it's Notch. Yeah. We're on to you.
It's either Notch or Shigeru. One of the two. Yeah. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Not figured it out just yet.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that, I think a lot of people dream of this sort of thing. And I don't think it would be good at all. I think it would be a chaos.
I dream of sustainability. Just
sustainability.
Maybe I'll be able to buy a house and eat some food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe get a
Stop
dog.
weeping in the shower. Yeah. But I think for the most part that's what a lot of people want. But there's always that, that you see all these things, didn't you? I can just imagine. I'd probably sell up at that point, to be honest, much like he did. I don't blame him at all. I'm surprised he took it so far before he did, to be perfectly honest. Because most people aren't global CEOs, As much as, especially in games media, they hate CEOs, but their job's not easy. That's not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination.
No, you are
word you say.
That 24/7.
Yeah, every word you say, every action you take has massive consequences on not only yourself, but lots of people and lots of money and lots of jobs. You know what I mean? And sod that.
Yeah, not interested personally. I want to be able to make the next thing in relative
on a
isolation.
Yacht, but that's about it. Yeah. In the isolation of a yacht, yeah. In the Caribbean, yeah, just 1 or 2 yachts in the Caribbean, and I'm happy.
A castle made out of yachts.
Yeah, exactly. A yacht castle. Yeah. But I think it is interesting because what do you do? How would you deal with it? Because I suppose what's the only benefit at that point is the money that's coming in. That's got to be the only pro of that entire scenario, that whirlwind of chaos. Because I can't see it all being positive, knowing that in the games industry. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, and just games industry or no, just having that much money, like,
yeah,
and making sure that your finances aren't like all wacky and and you're not getting audited or just. It seems like a Jenga tower to me.
Yeah, it'd be a nightmare. So hats off to Notch. So that's not an easy life. Oh dear.
But then again too, like I wouldn't be upset if like Savage was a hit,
Oh God, no.
But a hit in my mind is like, let's just put it in numbers. Like you make $100,000 or something in a year.
Yeah, that's a hit. Yeah.
In a year, off of one game. Then it's like, oh, now I can not worry about anything and make the next game over the course of 3 years or whatever.
You've won at that point, yeah. Yeah, you've done well. That would be nice.
Yeah, or be able to hire an accountant or something.
Yeah,
to make sure you don't fuck up.
To be honest, personally, I would probably class making 50 grand off a game a relative hit.
That would be. I would cry if I made $20,000 off of Savage in a year. I'd weep.
Yeah,
I'd feel like I'd won the lottery.
Yeah, that would be good, man. That would be good. It's not an easy business by any stretch.
No,
it's not. It's not. People make out that it is, but it's not. It really isn't.
I'm learning that as I go, and I'm going to learn it harder when Savage is done and out, and it's.
You're going to learn it right in the face.
Yeah,
no, you're not. No, mate, your game's glorious. It's going to do well.
I will be. Here's the thing. I'm prepared. My wife and I are prepared for Savage just doing horribly. Just like my mom buys a copy, Windy buys a copy out of pity or something.
Nah.
And then it's like, okay, well, I learned a lot. I mean, I'm saying this now. I'm probably going to be a wreck. Like if something like this. Either way, I think I'm going to be a wreck when
Either
it's
way,
done.
whatever happens, mate. I promise you.
Yeah.
I hate it. Of all the parts of making a video game, the worst part is releasing it. It's the worst part. It's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. But your game's great, man. The game is awesome.
Either way, I'm going to have a pizza and some beer when it's done. Just play some Lapis X Labyrinth.
What I usually do is I usually deal with the fallout of releasing a game, however long that takes.
Yeah.
Not long enough, sadly, for every game I've released. But I deal with everything that comes. So all the forums, just daily, hourly, checking everything, speaking to people. Dealing with whatever comes, trying to go in as many streams and videos and whatever that happen. Mm-hmm. That's what I try and do. And then once it calms down, I go, I'm off for a few days, at least. Just with a cursory glance to make sure nothing's on fire.
Like a week.
But I try and, just try and reset because Because then you're confronted with the whole. So this is going to be interesting for you, and I can't wait to discuss this. Is once you put that game out, it's finished, and it's so what now?
Yeah,
and you've got to start again. That's an interesting.
This
part.
has been
and
a part of
also
my
another hard part.
Yeah, this has been a part of my identity for since I was like 28, 29. That's stupid. That is so stupid. What am I doing?
It's not stupid, but it's interesting.
Well, when you think about stuff, it's like people have lived and died in the span of this. People have, there might be people who, I hope not, but there might be people who wanted to play Savage and died before they could fucking play it. Jesus. People have had children. Presidential elections have come and gone.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Imagine if you was to spend that long making games, you probably wouldn't be able to make 10 games before you die.
You'd make like 3 in.
No, but good for you, man. Good for you. Because what will happen is when it does really, really well, you'll be like, oh, those 6 years were worth everything. You know what I mean? They were worth it.
Well, without beating around the bush or anything, and just talking about, just numbers, because I like to hear about numbers. Let's say Savage just does, like makes me $10,000 or something in a year. I'll be happy. I will have considered that like, okay, that's something.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's it. I agree. And then you just push from there outwards because what are you doing porting or anything with it? What are you doing?
I want to.
Yeah.
I do have I am able to get it up and running on an Xbox. Here's the this is almost a separate thing, but Yo-Yo Games has definitely made it more challenging to port to. If you want to move to Game Maker Studio 2, I'm on 1.4. If you want to move up to the biggest and best version of Game Maker, which is obviously what I'm using to make Savage, you have to spend $1,500 a year to get the licenses for Switch, PS4, and Xbox. So I'm running off of an old Xbox One module, which Xbox is still fine with, but Yo-Yo won't support anymore. So if you have any problems, it's like, well, you should upgrade to 2 and spend $1,500. So I'm kind of like, I'll have to wait and see how the PC stuff does, and if I make enough money to get that license and to be able to port to the other ones, I think it would be worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it will be. Well, engines and their practices is a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
Yes.
Deary me, deary me. But yeah, I do, and I mean it sincerely. That I do wish you the best of luck with it.
Well, thank you. I want you to soar. Yeah, I want us both to be like laughing, like to the.
Yeah, we should have gone ha 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 with our monocles. Yeah, throwing champagne on poor people. Ha ha ha. No. One day, TOBOR. One day.
Yeah. I've got some champagne on my spats.
Yeah.
Some caviar on my spats.
You there? Clean my spats.
Boy.
Yeah. Oh, that's glorious.
And then we'd have to be reminded what the true meaning of Christmas is.
Yeah, exactly. It's turkey. And then presents, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Good boy, clever boy.
Go run! Get the biggest turkey you can.
Buy me the biggest Nintendo Switch.
Oh, Guff, now I'll do that. Oh dear. Anyway, that's chaos of success and aspirations of a game developer, right?
That I hope to gain a tiny piece of. To be honest, like if I could just get to, you're somebody that I look up to as far as.
Who is?
You are.
Me?
Yes, you.
Well,
you, Windy.
I am kind of a big deal.
You, boy. Clever boy.
Oh, man. I don't know about that.
No, just being able to do this sort of thing and have a catalog of games and, just, yeah, just doing what you're doing, man. Like I want to get to. If I could get to where you are with with Savage, I'd be equally just like over the moon. So
yeah. Well, it comes in swings and roundabouts for me. Like sometimes, like I'm just trying to survive. That's what I'm doing, and I'm doing it. I'm hanging in there. So I suppose in the scheme of the industry and people of my size, I suppose I am doing fairly well in that regard. I'm still alive. I'm still here, and I'm still making game number 7. And then game number 8 and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
I have a good feeling about GO2.
So do I.
And I have a good feeling about the operating title Scud 2.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. There's a lot of interesting things going on with GO2. Pete Cooper's inclusion in it and his work is going to be interesting as well. So I have a good friend of mine, Pete Cooper. For those watching, is a phenomenal artist, game artist, like world class video game artist, who's well out of my league. If I wanted to get someone involved, but he came to me because he loved GO1 so much. And this guy's worked for all the major AAAs at high levels in design and stuff like that.
Anybody who's watching, go buy Geo, and you'll see what I'm.
Go buy it.
It's great.
You'll see what I'm making a sequel.
Actually,
I'm making a sequel to this one.
It's a game that I'm surprised isn't like lighting things on fire. So go give it a shot.
I think I know the reasons why. I think I've identified what's holding GO1 back, right? And I'm hoping GO2 will address that, because I think it's a good game. I think it's probably, for me, of all my games, it's the one I would play if I was to pick one. Like personally, that would be the one for me. But the second one, so I've got this Pete Cooper guy, a really nice bloke, and he's doing all the characters. So there's going to be 100 or so, like around that, of characters to unlock throughout space. So weird aliens and crazy heroes and stuff like this. So he's already designing those, and I've seen a few of them, and they're mind-blowingly good. And in GO1, they were tiny little portraits, like 64 pixels by 64 pixels.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have like full portraits of these amazing characters drawn by him. And
the ones I've seen look amazing
like
too.
Yeah, so it's good. So there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs and throwbacks and stuff like that. That'll be cool. It'd be good to get a barbarian in there, if you know what I'm talking about. To get a barbarian floating around in space to be snaffled in.
Or what, like Conan, the barbarian.
Maybe Conan, or maybe Savage with his ghosts and shards.
I that would be awesome. If you're welcome to borrow him and use him however you want.
Well, yeah, we'll discuss. So things like that, lots of little things. I've got some ideas of other people and companies I want to reach out to. See if they're interested in having that, because it's not just a case of cross promotion and all that stuff. That's always glorious, but also to have these amazing characters from things that I'm not allowed to go near without permission. There's so many great characters out there that are relevant to the universe that I'm trying to create in this game.
Yeah.
Long road ahead for that one. I'm going to give it the time it needs. I'm going to give myself a deadline. I give myself a deadline, but I'm going to, if it needs it, it'll get the time it requires.
Yeah.
It'll be a big hand, this one. Right. So anyway, moving on from that, we were going to discuss this new thing that's come about. It's not actually that new. It's been around the industry for quite some time, I think. But there was a couple of videos I watched on YouTube.
Yeah.
About dynamic difficulty.
Yeah, I know almost nothing about this.
Really?
Outside of what you told me before we started recording.
Yeah. But even if you don't, I think the discussion of it is still interesting, just from
absolutely. And the way in which it could be wielded.
For good or bad.
Yeah.
So essentially, for those who don't know, there's EA have put in a patent. I don't know when it was recently or something. I should probably get this information before I talk about it. But obviously, Ubisoft have had some stuff similar to this, and I imagine they've all gotten patents and different algorithms and shit going on. And essentially, what it is it's dynamic difficulty. So, say you're playing a game and you're struggling to beat a boss, and it kills you a couple of times, and the game tweaks itself to make you feel like you did better. When in actuality, the game is changing to apply itself to how you want to play it. So it's fascinating, really, from that perspective. What sort of data these companies are storing about how you're playing, and all these things are being used to funnel into this sort of suppose, like it's almost like an AI at this point, where it reads how you're playing the game and decides that, hey, you're struggling here, so we'll just make it a bit easier, or we'll make your gun just a little bit stronger on this playthrough, or whatever.
Yeah, or the RNG on the attack set of the boss might not do some of the crazier stuff or something.
Exactly, yeah. That kill attack that takes all your characters down to 1 bit of health, it won't do it this time around. You know what I mean? And you just think you got lucky or that you did well, when in actuality the game sort of made
adjusted.
That happen. Which is interesting, I suppose. If we're talking about it like that, it's a good thing, you know. And I understand it from a AAA. Like they're gonna want to give players the best experience, which means they want to see how players playing it, you know. And if they've got data on you that you turn your game off after dying 3 times in the same place, then they don't want you to do that. So they'll start making it on the second playthrough, making it a little bit easier, so you don't get to that third playthrough and all these weird things. So I get it. They're going to try and make the game fun and enjoyable, and I suppose their only intention is to retain the player for as long as possible.
Yeah.
But it's what else this is going to be used for. And it's definitely going to. What do you think?
If not already.
Yeah, well, this is it.
Well, the thing that I thought of. Okay, so first of all, I want to just touch on the good stuff about this. I mean, this stuff is old, and games digitally and non-digitally have already been doing this for a long time. Like Half-Life 2 had, you know, stuff where if it noticed you were low on health or something, that the health pack drop rates might go up in a certain area. And it's like, oh, cool! Like I got, you know, I scored good on getting my health back. You know, it's things like that. Like games have already been doing stuff like this. And from to bring up Dungeon Masters again too, from the perspective of that, one of the main reasons you have that screen up when you're done DMing a play session is you're hiding your dice rolls so that you can skew them one way or the other to make the game more interesting. So maybe you don't want a total party kill right now, and you want something else interesting to happen. So like maybe you roll, like, you know, the bad guy rolls to hit you, and you roll like a 20, and it's like, oh, he fucking decapitates you. Maybe you're like, oh, he missed. And he hit a thing on the wall and caused like a cave in or something. Now you have to escape, like, you know, something like that. You could like kind of fudge it a little bit to not totally screw over everybody. So, so you can use it for good reasons and interesting ones, I think.
Yes.
I will also say I am a bit of a purist, and I do I appreciate when a game doesn't do this, and respects me enough to like. Nope, you got to get better. you got
to get through this.
Of course, this all depends on what kind of game it is and what the game is and all that. But talking about this stuff, the first thing that came to mind for me was reading about algorithms in online shooters and games specifically matching you up with other people who might have spent money in the cash shop to get certain things that you don't have, so that you see it and you're like, oh, I want that. Maybe you use shotguns a lot and the game knows you use shotguns a lot, but it also knows that you haven't spent any money in the cash shop, so it matches you with other people who use shotguns and bought something cool shotgun-wise in the cash shop, so you see it and you get killed by it. It's like, oh, I got to up my game, or you're on the same team and that guy's like, you know, whooping ass or something. It's like, maybe I should get the thing he's got. You know, so there's things like that are like,
yeah, and then going one further from that are these dynamic difficulty things shifting the parameters of the game in ways that, say, like you said, for example, it puts you with someone who's got a better shotgun that they've bought from the shop, right? So that's fair enough. But it's then matchmaking you with people not only with a better shotgun who are significantly better than you, so that you think that their gun is that important, that it's made that person that good because they killed you in seconds because their gun is that good. So then you start thinking, oh, I might buy that gun. So you go, okay, I'll go and buy that gun. It's only £5. So you buy the gun, and then the game goes, right, now we're going to put you with a load of people who are really shit. So you think you're great, and essentially you're the person that you just played against, but for shitter people. And then that causes issues. But then are the guns actually any better? You know, there was, I can't even remember, I think it was the Quarter, and he was talking about it, and he glossed over the point that, say, for example, let's just, not Fortnite, but a game like that, a competitive multiplayer game, where you can buy stuff from a cash shop, right? Is it then changing the dynamic difficulty? Are things like your hitbox size getting bigger? You know, for the other player, because someone's so shit at the game that the people coming at them, their hitbox size increases while theirs shrinks. So that we're talking about a competitive game with a dynamic difficulty, which means it's not competitive.
I don't like that very much at all.
Are your bullets more random? Are the 7 bullets you're shooting in this burst rifle actually only shooting 4?
Yeah, are some of them just blanks and you just think that you're missing?
You know?
Yeah.
So then you start questioning if these games are skill-based at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Once you know this stuff, it's like, I can't really imagine playing one of these.
How can it even be
removing that from my mind? You know, like
yeah,
if it's doing things.
But I don't think most people will. Most people won't even see this stuff. Or
Probably,
think about
yeah,
it or care.
100%. Yeah, probably not.
That's why they'll do it, you know, and they will do it. Of course, they'll do it.
Yeah.
They'll do these things. I always question.
It sounds incredibly effective.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine it is. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of
Twisted
sense.
and
if I, as a
evil.
developer, if I could write a system for my game that found out what was making someone upset, and I could make the game tweak itself so that it was no longer upsetting them, but in fact making them want to spend money, then the
power.
Who's gonna exactly? This is just ridiculous. No wonder they're making billions on microtransactions. But hey, that's the power of dopamine, right?
It's
you know what I mean?
some twisted stuff. I think
It's fascinating though.
It
fascinating. If it's all true though. I can't even say if it's all true. I don't know.
well, because it's all
speculation,
psychology, and yeah. Well, it might not be true, but like even just knowing that the possibility of it is,
yeah, exactly,
is kind of like, well, fuck. And how else is this being applied to real life stuff with the?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you could go full tinfoil
Is the
hat
real
on this
world
stuff.
real? It's tweaked the difficulty. It's made it rain today for me. You know what I mean? Because it just wants to piss on me some more.
Yeah. Maybe it senses that I won't go and buy some pizza today, but
yeah,
you know, it wafts
wants
some
to make my day
scent
bad.
into the air.
Yeah.
Oh,
I keep seeing Domino's delivery vans like in trucks and bikes. What's this about? That was another one.
I'm kind of hungry actually.
But it is fascinating because I think, like, I know that these games companies are recording tremendous amounts of player data. Tremendous amounts. You know, what their mouse is over, what they're doing. You know what I mean? All these other things, what time of day they're playing, how long they're playing for, when they quit, why they quit, all this shit. And supposedly, this pattern for this dynamic difficulty is not specific to a game. So it will be based on your player history through all games. So depending on how you behave in other games dictates how this game will confront you. If you know what I mean. So you could, like, this is fascinating stuff. And I would love to get a look at it and actually really understand it. Not because I think it's a great thing. It's just one of the most interesting things in the industry at the moment is this data and what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
And I think in most tech industries is this big data is just chaos. Like the
Well,
stuff,
yeah, a lot of social media is already doing that anyway. It's, you know, it's trying to figure out who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah. And these things are having sways over elections and politics now. Like the amount of stuff that's being funneled in and out of people's feeds based on what they talk about.
I think that's kind of a symptom of it because it's because people are so jacked into this stuff. Of course, it's gonna, you know, there's gonna be some political influence, and of course, it's gonna be everything influence. It's gonna influence how you think about everything, like it, because people let it. This is why playing. If we can go back all the way to the beginning for a second, this was why playing Rogue was so refreshing. Nobody knew what I was fucking doing. You know, like I could just.
Or so you think.
But the beauty of a cartridge. You plug it in there. There's no friend list. It's not connected to the internet. So I think. Yeah.
Yeah. No one's watching how long you played it for.
Yeah. Yeah. No. There's a Fortress of Solitude feel to it, where it's like, oh my god. Yeah. I think that's another. There's nothing crudding up my like brainwave here. Yeah. It's just me and the game or whatever. I've had to turn off, notifications that tell you people what you're doing on other platforms. Like when you're on Steam and you're playing a game and it'll tell everyone you're playing a game. Yes. I've had to turn that shit off. Because I get messages from people saying, shouldn't you be playing? Shouldn't you be working? Shouldn't you be doing this? Why are you playing this? Why are you doing that? And I'm like, leave me alone. Yeah. I just want to play a game. I've turned all that shit off too. Like Twitch and all that stuff. Like anything that has a friends list, I generally don't
Yeah.
add friends, and I'm always invisible. And it's not like oh, I don't want anyone to know what I'm doing. It's just like I don't want. Well, yeah, like it's privacy is the thing.
Yeah.
Just plain vanilla flavored. Can I just be by myself?
Yeah, exactly.
Doing this,
Yeah.
can I just?
Remember when you could play a video game on your own without anyone taking anything from it? You know?
Yeah. Which is the Rogue thing. Like I was playing Rogue and it was just like I didn't care what, I wasn't streaming it. I wasn't engaging.
Just off. Yeah.
I was just laying on my couch like a lump, just.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, isn't it? Caterpillar on its back.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, games are mad. I'd be interested to see what starts happening in another 10, 20 years. Like I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even predict,
Yeah.
I couldn't even. It'd be just taking a wild guess out of thin air, and it might not even be anywhere near.
Yeah.
You do that 10 years ago, you probably could have guessed a little bit.
Yeah.
But
The optimist
like
in
VR
me.
and-
The optimist in me wants to see a return to privacy.
Yeah. No.
I don't think so. Yeah.
You probably have to join a communal jelly or something in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like you just slide into this big, like lumpy jelly, and everyone just floating around there going, oh, whoa, whoa. This jelly playing a game in their
sharing
heads,
an
like,
experience and sensations.
Yeah. And then there's just CEOs with tubes going, just sucking out all the brain juice and money, and that's it.
Yeah. The tubes are hooked up to their, brain basket,
Yeah,
and they're
exactly,
reading the
yeah.
data like,
Yep. That's it.
and in real time manipulating things, Oh, that guy needs a
Yeah, Minority Report.
yeah.
Crazy. But you got to love it. It's fascinating.
It is. Yeah.
I've never known an industry so designed to bring joy. that
It's
does
so
its
intent on
hardest to-
enslaving.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, isn't it? It's so weird. Oh, dear. It's like Chucky, really, isn't it?
Oh man.
The games industry is essentially Chucky.
Yeah.
No. It's a lovely, sweet little doll that will stab you.
Yeah.
first
What
chance
was it?
it
Good
gets.
Guys. Good
Yeah.
Guys Toys or something.
Oh yeah. Man. Well, that's our subjects, right?
Yeah. On that note,
On that note, yeah. we'll
dystopian future note.
We'll have to do another one. Yeah, so we'll do another one next week. Apologies for anyone who is watching. We missed a few days. We were supposed to be a couple of days back, but it's been a strange, busy week. So
Yeah, things
we
happen.
try and get one out a week. Yeah, we're trying to do one a week's our plan, but you never know what's happening, do you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially you've got early access coming up fairly soon, and you'll be
Yeah, I think I am. I'm trying not to scare myself out of it, but
do it.
okay.
Do
Yeah.
it. Sauvage, les chats douze gosses.
Sauvage fromage.
It's gonna be so good. All right, guys. Well, there you go. That's from me, Windybeard, and my good friend TOBOR just over there. Give him a wave, TOBOR. Wave. There he goes. Goodbye, TOBOR. This has been FlameCast, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Okay, now we're recording.
Let me,
are you
let me
recording
delete
your-
everything.
Are you recording your audio?
All right.